Come on, puppies. Come on, sweetie. Hey. Yo. 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 Hey. Days past and gone, within my heart a welcome guest, within my home abide. Oh, Savior, stay this night with me. Behold, tis eventide. Little Sunday morning. Little Sunday morning. Not my favorite place to be, but some days it's where you gotta be. Well, oh well. It is a beautiful evening here, many hours later down the road. Many hours later down the road. Where are we off to? Well, maybe you guessed it. You remember a while back when we took a load of Holstein, Springer, Mama heifers back to Minnesota? Well, another load of heifers, all right? We had a Friday game, the football team did, which we won. And this was an early Sunday morning load, which meant I could squeeze the load in, shoot out to Pipestone, Minnesota, unload, do the flippity flop, get on back. The goal is to get on back by Tuesday morning because we have a JV game on Tuesday night. So got to get back with the boys, right? So it's kind of high flying. I tell you, football thing is great. So many great things to talk about. I'll probably wait till the end of the season and just do an actual. It's been a great learning experience for me, and I have some different takeaways about the younger generation that might be interesting to hear. We got the hammer down. Kind of have the hammer up. I tell you what, this is the, I can't say it's my first load with this truck. I have taken a few here and there that I did not bring you along on, some shorter runs, but this is definitely my first and longest run that I've done, and heaviest, I think. You saw there when we weighed in at the beginning of the video. Heaviest run. So I'm running this X15. Just as a reminder, it's a Cummins 565 horse X15, all right? And I'm kind of curious to see the mileage that I can milk out of this. I'm starting to figure out this engine, how to run it, you know, while the new motor is getting rebuilt and reconditioned and such. And I'm getting the hang of it. I fueled up back in Lewistown on my way through, so this is gonna be, we got another couple hours before we fuel up. It's gonna be about, let's see, we're at 400 miles so far on this tank. It's gonna be a couple more hours yet. We'll probably have 550 miles or so on this tank. If I can get loaded over 5 miles to the gallon, pulling a quad axle bull rack, you know, grossing 99,000 pounds, that would be phenomenal, because I think most cattle haulers running an X15 are averaging loaded and empty less than 5. A lot of times when you're hauling cattle, it's, as I mentioned before, it's loaded out, empty back, and that'll be the case on this trip. So I want to get a good loaded mileage feel here, and I'll share that with you. Let's hope for 5.1, be amazing. If we get below 5, it wouldn't surprise me. However, I would be disappointed just because I like mileage. we're at our exit 212 at the old Viv. I could not get it snuck up to 5.1. That makes me worry just a little bit about what we're gonna find for fuel mileage here. Probably gonna be a couple of cow haulers in there. Truck number is 26. Diesel and DEF both. How long will it be? Okay. Ah, what does that remind you of? Huh? Kind of remind you of the old NASCAR days. NASCAR days, and Mama's in there. Boy, some of these things are tall. Look at this one. Look at the height on this girl. Whew. Compared to the rest of them, man, she'll be a milking machine. Milking machine. Got a new cow trailer here the other week. I'll give you the walk around after it's washed out and washed off. Show you around it. Hey, good news. Great news, you guys. 597 miles on 112 gallons. That's 5.33 miles per gallon in an X15 Cummins with 99,000 pounds gross. What do you think about that, huh? That ain't bad at all. Oh man, that gives me high hopes for what we can do at the Detroit in this truck. I use 6 gallons of DEF, so that has my DEF consumption at 5% of my fuel. But anyway, really hopeful and happy about that. Ah, looky. It is 2:30 a.m. We are just peeling into the old livestock auction. Industrial Road, Pipestone, Minnesota. Coming in the backside here, come on. We have arrived, y'all. We made it. I gotta get my boots out. Seems like just a few hours ago I put those on to load this morning. Oh man, tell you what, I think this is actually the best time that I've made doing this run to Pipestone. And it wasn't because I drove super fast, it was because I just drove nice and steady. Steady Eddie, or Steady Freddy. I would say Steady Freddy instead of Steady Eddie. You guys remember last time I was here how I was talking about how clean and nice this place is? Still clean and nice. Just gotta, that's padlocked. That's not gonna work. It's clean, it's no longer nice because they padlocked me out. I will, we'll get these cattle on water. They'll be okay. There's some good lot pens here. They're okay. We just want them to be able to get a drink of water, which they can get there. See over there? Water. Come on, babies, let's go. Come on, follow me out. Yeah, there you go. Come on, mamas. Well, they're not mamas yet. Soon to be. Come on, girlies. Come on. I always like to tease that the ride was too nice. That they don't want to get out because it was so nice. There they go. They just needed a little helper. Come on, girlies. Hey, come on, get out. There we go. Come on now. Easy. Hey, get out of here. No. Yeah. Get out. Yo, hey, get out of here. Oh no, I was telling you about the poo. There it is. Ah. Okay. Come on. Okay, I got those ones penned up. We are definitely gonna go wash out in the morning. For sure, for sure. All right, pups, got them all out. It's kind of a two-handed job, so I couldn't bring you along for the finale, but let's get them penned up here. All right, there they are. 3 pen full of good future milking mamas. Bringing you some of that good dairy, some of that good whole milk. Fill out this paperwork and go to bed. Got her done. Let's get changed out and go catch a snooze, huh? Nice and dark. It's about 34 degrees. Oh, that pin's out. Beautiful sleeping weather. Beautiful sleeping weather, if I do say so myself. So we'll shut this truck off and see you in the morning. Not too bad. Not too bad. A little tricky. There's some pretty old dried out manure in there, but $87 later, we're washed. Get changed up and boogie. I'm a little scroungy looking. I mean, I'm always scroungy looking, but extra scroungy from washing out. A little wet still. Man, I got dinged at $70 an hour to wash your trailer out, and this time of year it can get tricky because a lot of the cattle are really dry when you load them, and the weather's hot out still in a lot of places, and so the manure doesn't stay wet. It dries and sticks to the floor, and it's not wet and juicy, so you end up taking 2 or 3 loads before you wash out. Whereas when it gets colder and the cattle have more hay in their bellies and stuff, they get a lot more, you know, everything stays wet in there, which is more of a mess. But the upside is when you wash out, it just flows right out. You can wash your whole trailer out in 30 minutes if you're good. And there's a lot of stuff stuck to the floor, so I was washing my little heart out, washing the walls off good. It's a nice wash out, very expensive, $70 like I said, compared to the place I normally am in Nebraska. Is 40 bucks I think for the hour. Anyway, they put you on a strict timer, and I was 65 minutes, so I got bumped from $70 up to $87.50. Got a $17 surcharge for my extra 5 minutes. And I get it, because some guys go in there and just camp out in their trailer, but you're always like, darn it, that would have bought me dinner. See this over there? They're blowing, they've been pouring some freeway over there, and check this out, just clouds of cement dust. You want to get off the gas. That is some of the most abrasive dust. Some of the most abrasive dust that you can find. Seen those on the old I-9. So we'll swing in at Vivian and fuel up again, y'all. That's roughly, I don't know, 2. Well, let's look here. There's a mile marker coming up, but let's top off again there. Let's see where we're at. We're at mile marker 372. Vivian is at mile marker 212 where we fuel up there. So 160 miles. You can see there my trip economy is at 5.3. Did quite a bit better loaded coming across the 90 last night than the earlier portion of my trip. So that's good. I think if the computer is even remotely in the ballpark. You see that I'm going 64. I'm in technically, different people have different names for it. I'm in 17th. This is an 18-speed transmission. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to say that I'm in 17th gear. Rarely do I touch 18th gear with this truck, which means I have a couple options. One is when it's time to change these rear ends, I'm going to put a locker in the back axle to help with wintertime stuff, and then I'm also going to put 355 rear ends back there as well. This truck also has tall 22.5 tires, 11R 22.5s. I can put some low pros on there and lower it a little bit, and that will also slow me down just a touch. But to be honest with you, this is a pretty good spot where I'm sitting 15, 50, 64 miles an hour. Who knows, maybe it'll work out and I won't need to change the rears, but ISX is or X15 is very different from a Detroit. I know there's a lot of folks, there's actually a lot saying, hey, you might think about just keeping that X15. Here's my thing. I don't know anything about these motors. And yes, you can learn all that. Other than driving in NASCAR and this, I've never driven one or owned one until now. So very few miles, very little experience, never worked on one, never changed the oil yet in one, which will happen probably this weekend when I get home. That's kind of where we're at. I hear you, and at the same time, this engine is running like a top. It's pretty fresh, so to speak, 582,000 miles on it. I just don't, I'd rather pull it out while it's good and running good and there's no issues and everything's great and it's a good usable engine for someone that should have a ton of life left. So if you are looking for an X15 that's rolling down the river, hit me up, send me an email, because this will be coming out. I want to give you another tip of the day. Here's the thing, see that? See the shadow in front of that trailer? Big trailer shadow, look at the little shadow in front of it, okay? It's like a Dodge Durango or something. Tip is, if you need to have strap-on extendable mirrors to see around the sides of your trailer, the rig you're towing with is probably too small. See the wheels from the car? They're like a foot inside of the trailers. Buddy. And look, I know they make the stabilizer hitches and all this and that and everything else. I'm just telling you, as a professional puller that has made my way in this life by pulling loads, just trust me. You'll be alright most of the time, but you get into a tight spot, traffic jams up in front of you, get on some bad roads, that trailer is gonna own you. Alright, wheeling, dealing, ripping, roaring, right on in here. Which lane? Let's take this one. 5.6, so not nearly as good as I was hoping, adding those empty miles in. 480 total miles on the circle, but you know, it was interesting. I set my cruise from Sioux Falls, of course not on the big hills, but I set my cruise from Sioux Falls more or less to here at 63, 64 miles an hour, and I was surprised. You know, I have the instant fuel economy thing, which kind of lets you know how hard your engine's telling it to pull itself, and I was surprised how much it was in the fives. I mean, a little bit of a breeze, nothing to feel like, wow, the wind's really here. But it was interesting. Kind of makes me wonder if it's a bit of an uphill from Sioux Falls over here to central South Dakota. I'll reset this right now. I'm going to drive all empty miles from here to Miles City, Montana, which is probably another 350 miles. We'll top off there and we'll see what those empty miles are. We'll get that mileage and we'll add it to my loaded average from yesterday, which was 5.3, and we'll see where that average ends up. There's a couple different ways to look at it so I can get one, because people always ask, well, what kind of mileage are you getting? And it's such an open-ended question. It's like, well, especially this time of year, you know, did you catch some wind? Did you have a big load, a small load? Were you in South Dakota, or were you in Wyoming? Or so many variables. Let's buckle up and we'll see what this next leg does. I did run into a friend of mine there at the truck stop from my own town, old Hank the Silver Fox. Yeah, just pulling out of the old fuel stop, y'all. Okay, very good stuff, very good stuff. Let me report. Okay, so get that out of your window. Pre-pass. This is good news, you guys. So I'll just let you know, I drove 64, 63, 64 miles an hour all day today after I fueled at Vivian, okay? I just rolled into Miles City, 381 miles, topped the tanks off again with 56 gallons of diesel. That gives me 6.8 miles per gallon empty, okay? So if we take that and we add it to yesterday's loaded mileage, more or less across the same route, we had 5.33. So if you add those together, it's just a tick over 12 total. Divide that by 2, and that gives me loaded empty average from Montana to Vivian coming in at 6.06. 6.06, man. That is so good. I could not be more tickled and thrilled and just pleased with these driving habits. All right, you guys, fuel mileage is a lot to do with the engine. A lot to do with the engine. But do you know anyone that brags about their fuel mileage with an X15 Cummins hauling cattle? No, there's not. Nobody does. I'm here to brag a little, I guess, because that's phenomenal. Now, again, if you're in the freight world, you're probably like, oh, I pull a reefer, I get 6 all the time. Pulling a bull rack, you know, it's got all those holes, it catches wind, everything else. I had a friend of mine that has become more fuel conscious, and he has an X15. I said, hey, give me just a few tips to get me started here. And so he did. Morgan, if you're out there watching this, you can smile and wave. Running this X15, boosting no more than 20 pounds, 20, 22 pounds. If you're having to boost more than that, you need to downshift. But keep your boost 20 pounds and below. Keep your RPMs at 1500 and above. Now they say, I know, they say these engines are designed to roll slow and 1200 RPMs and all that. It's just not the case. I don't know, maybe pulling a van trailer or something, it is, but with these big loads and doing what we're doing, it is not. Don't worry, they have a stop sign over there if you're wondering. RPMs, you know, 1550 to 1650 is just a real sweet spot for this ISX, or this X15 rather. Don't do the 1200, 1300 RPMs. It's just too luggy. I tried it for my first few trips and was just down in the low 5s and just dumping around down there, which is what led me to chat up old Morgan quick. I also will tell you that I've dosed all these fuel, you know, fill-ups with Hot Shot's secret EDT, the everyday treatment that they give you to make this diesel be a premium diesel. Oh, did you even get to see him? Probably not. Old Rob Barron. Old Big Rob into the night. Forgot to run there for a minute. Forgot to include that in my video, but there he is. So I guess we should probably wrap this thing up. Let you guys get on your way. You've been hanging around long enough on this truck trip with me. I'll pull this engine out probably around Christmas time, whenever the cow hauling slows up enough that I can get with Joe for, you know, a few days straight. Kind of planning on maybe just kind of camping out down in Billings and hitting it hard and getting this thing pulled out and the Detroit put in and the conversion and whatnot done. Don't fret. There's not a threat as far as what we're doing is totally legal and square. You're not allowed to do it with new trucks anymore, but these older late model trucks are grandfathered into any of that glider. That's not the word, because it's not a glider. There's a word for it, or a phrase. It's not rebuilt, assembled. An assembled rig. It's legal to do an assembled rig like this because of the age of this one. Anyway, we are not removing any emission system from the engine. We're leaving all that intact. We're not deleting, we're not doing anything like that. We are repowering and reassembling. So anyway, all good in the hood there. Wouldn't it be funny if I put that little Detroit in there and I'm not able to get 6 miles to the gallon? An engine that we've been through, we've seen inside and out, you know, just kind of have a little more trust in it rather than you know, an X15 that I'm not familiar with fixing and working on. And I could learn, and eventually, I suppose at some point in my career I may have to, because that might just be what's left on the offering in another, you know, 15 years or something. But anyway, you guys, thanks for following along. I hope you find this a little bit interesting, those of you that are into fuel mileage and numbers and efficiency. And you know, aerodynamic trucks do definitely help peak your fuel mileage. They make up for a lot of heavy-footed drivers, okay? But I think it's safe to say here that I'm learning between the Coronado the mileage we were getting with the Coconato and the mileage that I'm getting with this X15 and this classic truck, I think it's safe to say that driver habits are going to ultimately win the day when it comes to the race for fuel mileage. You guys, till next time, be good.